In 1934, under the rumble of downtown Los Angeles streetcars, engineer George Warren Shufelt traced his copper-wired radio X-ray over a crumbling sheepskin map. The device pulsed once, then again, signaling a hollow chambers beneath Fort Moore Hill. He looked to his partner, a quiet, Hopi elder named Chief Greenleaf, who watched him with solemn understanding. "They were not men," Greenleaf said. "Not as we are. They came before the first fire of the tribes, the people of the Scales." Shufelt wrote just one word in his field journal. Confirmed. It's story time. This story is called The Catacombs Beneath Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Times ran the headlines on January 29, 1934. Lizard People's Catacomb City Hunted. The story told of a lost network of tunnels that were built by an ancient civilization, an intelligent race of reptilian beings that had fled a cataclysm thousands of years ago. According to Greenleaf's oral history, they had stored vast records of human history and caches of gold in honeycomb vaults beneath the modern city. At first, the county engineers just laughed. But when Schufelt's shafts struck actual worked stone that was 250 feet down, that laughter turned to silence. They then lowered a camera. Grainy, ghostly footages returned. A chamber that was lined with serpentine carvings, a mural of humanoid figures with lizard-like eyes standing before a golden obelisk, and hieroglyphs that resembled Sumerian cuneiform. Within days, the hill was cordoned off. The dig was reclassified under Geological Survey 1934-C. The public was told the project was closed for safety concerns. But it wasn't. On March 9, 1934, the Shufelt team broke into Vault 7. A perfect ellipse of black stone. Stacked in precision rows lay ingots of pure orichalcum. This is an alloy that no one could replicate, shimmering like living gold. Each bore was the same sigil, an eye surrounded by 7 rays. At the center of the vault, a tablet depicted the word "spilt by fire and flood." Beneath it, an inscription translated from Hopi glyphs read, "When the sun burns twice, the scaled ones return to guide the surface anew." Within a week, federal agents arrived. The dig was seized, and Shufelt was silenced under the guise of national security. The site was filled and paved, and the artifacts vanished into storage beneath what would later become the Los Angeles Civic Center. The official record was there was no conclusive findings. But among Schufelt's surviving notes, found decades later, in a sealed box labeled Survey 1934-L, was a line in fading ink. They are still moving down there. 2025, the Department of Geophysical Anomalies made the return expedition and called it Project Deep Star. Dr. Maria Shufelt, George's great-granddaughter, stood at the edge of a new borehole, bored beneath Grand Avenue. Her team's ground-penetrating radar had revealed a void 280 feet down, perfectly elliptical, an impossible match to her ancestors' maps. Officially, Deep Star was funded to study seismic risks. Unofficially, Maria had one goal: find the truth her grandfather died protecting. Descending the shaft, the crew breached into a chamber coated in black mica. The air shimmered faintly, charged. In the beam of her lamp, glyphs glowed faintly, as if wakening. And then, in the dust, a footprint with 3 toes. This footprint was fresh. A week later, Deep Star transmitted classified footage. A tunnel sloping downward into a city of crystal pillars, subterranean waterways, and glowing fungi that breathed mist into the caverns. Motion sensors caught heat signatures of tall, thin forms that were watching from the shadows. The recordings ended when the team lost radio contact. Removed from the site before communications failed were several items. There was an obsidian tablet that was inscribed with an unknown mathematical sequence that resembled DNA encoding. There was a metallic orb, humming at a constant 432 hertz, pulsing in rhythm with seismic patterns along the San Andreas Fault, and a carved effigy of a humanoid reptile being clutching a spiral sun. The carbon dating returned impossible results. Over 10 million years old. The Department of Defense denied the findings, classifying the material under biogenic metallic anomalies. Yet, they leaked photos, and they surfaced online. A new expedition was authorized, but this time, it was multinational. Scientists, linguists, and ex-military specialists. Their mission? Not to evacuate, but to establish contact. On September 12, 2026, a live transmission from the Catacombs showed a vast chamber illuminated by a central monolith, the same golden obelisk from the 1934 footage. Energy readings spiked, and symbols along the walls shifted, rearranging as if it was alive. Then came the voice, deep and resonant, transmitted through every open frequency. Children of the surface, we did not leave. You have returned to what was never yours. Then the transmission cut. 2 hours later, a mild earthquake rippled through Los Angeles. The epicenter was Fort Moore Hill. The city lights flickered. Beneath downtown, sensors registered movement, massive, coordinated, and rhythmic, as if something ancient had begun to stir. A leaked memo surfaced months later. It was titled Operation Nidus, N-I-D-U-S. It outlined contingency plans for coexistence with subterranean non-human intelligence. Among the listed directives was an attached image, a new Los Angeles City Seal prototype, incorporating a serpent coiled around a golden sun. At the bottom, handwritten in ink, it read, "When the second sun burns, the gates beneath Los Angeles will open again." This was also in the recovered notes of the Shufelt archive in 1934. An author's note in World Historical Annotation. The Shufelt Catacomb Expedition of 1934 was officially struck from city records. Yet every decade since, tremors have registered beneath the Civic Center with harmonic frequencies, unexplainable by geology. Some say it's pressure along the fault line. Others say it's the pulse of something older waiting. And if you stand near Fort Moore Hill on quiet nights, locals claim that you can hear a hum beneath the pavement, like breathing or scales against stone. Partially declassified for internal review was the classified field report. Level 5 clearance required for Project Deep Star, Phase 2. Joint oversight by the Department of Geophysical Anomalies, the University of California, Los Angeles, and the U.S. Geological Survey. The operation code name was Nidus, N-I-D-U-S/Los Angeles, Subterranean Anthropological Study. It starts with a brief executive summary. Following renewed seismic anomalies beneath the Los Angeles Civic Center, the Deep Star team re-entered the 1934 Fort Moore Hill bore zone, originally surveyed by G.W. Shufelt. Ground-penetrating radar confirmed an extensive network of engineered chambers at depths between 240 to 310, Artifacts, biogenetic residue, and structural analysis substantiate that the 1934 claims of the non-human subterranean civilization of the lizard people, possessing advanced metallurgical and biotechnological capabilities. A live contact event occurred during Phase 2, Entry 4. 3 team members were evacuated. Further descent was suspended under Federal Directive OP NITIS 3-R. The team composition: Dr. Maria Schufelt, Principal Investigator, UCLA Anthropology; Dr. Louis Oakfor, Seismology Lead, USGS Pasadena; Dr. Irene Cato, Biochemist, from Caltech Biology Imaging; Lieutenant Commander E. Salazar, Security Liaison, U.S. Navy Geological Unit, and a team of 4 Tech Ops crew. Their role was remote sensors, and their affiliation was DGA. The entry chronology was abridged. It read, 6 September 2026, Borehole A, Delta. Penetration at 278 m. Reached. Hollow space of constant 21 C, 38% humidity. Chamber walls were fused basalt with micro-silica lattice. Non-geological origin. Recovered fragment, specimen A-17, emitted low-band EM resonance, 432 Hz. 9 September 2026. Chamber 2, the Hall of Eyes. Murals of bipedal reptilian forms. Optical isotope analysis dated pigments equal to 10-900 plus 300 YBP. Presence of residual organic protein chains, reptilian but non-Earth genomic markers. 2.7% unknown base pairs. 12 September 2026. Fault 7. Relocation. Central monolith identical to 1934 photographic record. Activation upon proximity of specimen. A 17 electromagnetic pulse synchronized with local seismic oscillations. 0.8 Hz. Drone feed captured bioluminescent movement. 3 entities approximately 2.2 m. Tall, reflective, dermal plating. Vertical pupils. Audio log DS-V7-3. Transcript partial. Children of light above. Return to memory. In parentheses, it states interference/static. 13 September 2026. Emergency extraction. Rapid atmospheric pressure drop. Gas of high argon content released. Dr. Oakfor experienced auditory hallucinations. Choral vibrations. Extraction ordered. Chamber entrance sealed via thermite collapse plug. The collected artifact summary. Orichalcum alloy panel, 35 by 22 centimeters. Generates harmonic field, unknown energy source. Crystallized C-pod. Genetic material. Spore viability confirmed. Engraved tablet in cuneiform, Hopi hybrid. Mentions second sun and return cycle. Biological sample dermal scale fragment. DNA partially matches extinct Varanus priscus. Remainder unknown. All material transferred under containment to DGA-Biolab 02, Edwards Air Force Base. Observational data. Structural engineering. Hexagonal tunnel matrix demonstrates non-random patterning aligned to geomagnetic north. Magnetic anomalies correspond to earthquake stress relief zones. Suggests intentional seismic modulation. Possible planetary stabilization functions. Bioacoustic field. Persistent infrasound measured at 20 Hz, identical to frequency band of the 1934 hum. Recordings archived by G.W. Schufelt. Cultural iconology. Repeated motif. Serpent encircling a solar disk, identical to the icons on recovered ignats. Linguistic element shows convergence with Proto-Sumerian glyphs, denoting knowledge keepers or guardians beneath. Psychological log extracts. Dr. M. Schufelt. Personnel record. The air feels aware. Every sound comes back slower, like the stone is thinking before it answers. When the light hits the carvings, they shimmer. Not reflection, more like respiration. Dr. Cato - Biochem Report number 22. Spore analysts suggest environmental symbiosis, an engineered ecosystem maintaining oxygen levels. Whoever built this didn't hide from Earth. They became part of it. Incident summary. Contact event 1. Visual contact confirmed at 3:41 UTC. Entity designated LP-01 approached perimeter, observed, then withdrew. Thermal imaging shows body temperature 23 C, cold-blooded, but highly endothermic when active. No hostility detected. Spectral audio analysis of ensuring vibrations indicates structured phenomena resembling mathematical cadence. AI linguists engine classified output at 82% probability of intentional communication. Transmission ceased when monolith field re-engaged. Containment and classification. Upon review by Federal Scientific Oversight Board, findings sealed under National Antiquities Protection Act. Site registered internally as Cultural Heritage Layer 0. Public cover story released. Abandoned 1930s tunnel discovery closed for seismic hazard. All living biological samples cryosealed at -180 C. No replication attempts authorized pending bioethics review. Addendum titled Ongoing Seismic Pattern. Post-closure sensors detect repeating harmonic tremors at 0.8 Hz every 24 hours, plus 3 minutes amplitude rising by 0.3% weekly. Pattern matches heartbeat waveform recorded in 1934 logs. Correlation suggests reactivation of subterranean energy system. Concluding remarks. Dr. Maria Schufelt. My grandfather was right. The city above sleeps on the skin of another civilization. They were never myth. They were memory. If the tremors are messages, then Los Angeles isn't shaking. It's answering. End of report. Filed under DGA Secure Archives. Restricted circulation. Unauthorized disclosure subject to federal penalty. Following the abrupt federal seizure of all Deep Star Phase 2 materials, the university retained copies of sensor telemetry and lab notebooks inadvertently backed up to the campus cloud array. This addendum was drafted to summarize independent analysis carried out between October 2026 and January 2027. Re-examination of digital seismic data. Dr. Cato and Dr. Oakfor. Continuous 0.8 Hz pulse persists beneath downtown LA with a harmonic overtone at 3.2 Hz. That was not present prior to the expedition. The 3.2 Hz overtone encodes amplitude modulations corresponding to prime number intervals. This suggests intentional patterning rather than tectonic noise. When the waveform is accelerated and converted to audio range, it reproduces the same tonal spacing found in the Vault 7 acoustic glyphs. Interpretation: possible attempt at contact through low-frequency transmission. Translation attempt of Tablet C-09. Department of Ancient Near Eastern Languages. Cross-referencing cuneiform Hopi hybrid characters yield partial translation. When fire twins rise above the water sky, the stone hearts below shall speak again. Record keepers return through song of the deep earth. Marginal symbols denote an event roughly every 12,000 years, coinciding with known geomagnetic excursions. Loschamp and Blake events. Artifact A-17. Resonant plate testing. Unauthorized bench test performed inside a shielded Faraday chamber. Revealed, upon exposure to recorded 0.8 Hz tone, the plate emitted narrow band luminescence, 495 nm. Ambient temperature drop of 3C within chamber. Localized magnetic field inversion lasting 0.4 seconds. Microfractography shows lattice realignment resembling self-healing metal composites. Result: material appears responsive to acoustic triggers. Possible data storage medium encoded through vibration rather than binary magnetism. Biological sample, dermal fragment, portion retained on microscope slide, escaped collection sweep. Remains unclassified. Cellular respiration via dual mitochondrial matrices. Anaerobic and aerobic flexibility. Adaptation to subsurface environments. Presence of microsilica scales suggests biomineralization for radiation shielding. No pathogenic markers detected. Dr. Cato's private notes. This isn't an animal sample. It's a design. The genome reads like architecture. Personnel psychological after effects. 4 researchers reported reoccurring auditory phenomena. Deep harmonic hum. Perceived near elevator shafts or subway tunnels. Dream recall themes. Geometric corridors, shifting light patterns resembling bioluminescent glyphs. MRI studies show mild synchronization of hippocampal theta waves to 0.8 Hz frequency during episodes. Communication insert excerpts. Recovered from deleted voicemail. Unidentified male voice. Tell Maria the song is not a warning, it's an invitation. The city's heartbeat is counting down. 45 cycles until alignment. The line terminates. Correlation with seismic log. 45 days equals projected rise of harmonic amplitude to threshold resonance on 2027 to 11. Internal memorandum. Dr. Maria Schofelt to the faculty circle. They lock the site, but they can't lock the signal. If these beings still inhabit the strata, the pulse we hear is their language. February 11th may not mark a disaster. It may mark a dialogue. Project Echo Delta. Contact window. March 17th, 2027. Mission objective. Following confirmation of anomalous structures beneath downtown Los Angeles during expedition LACE 2 was authorized to conduct a controlled re-entry into chamber Delta 6, the primary access tunnel believed to lead into the central chamber of the lizard people catacombs. Objective parameters included verification of prior sonar mapping anomalies, artifact recovery, and biological sampling, contact protocol assessment, in case of sentient subsurface presence. Entry point, subsurface shaft, 5th and Hill Street, abandoned transit maintenance site. Field log excerpts, transcript. 2213. Dr. Morin, the glyphs are identical to those recorded in the 1934 Warren Report. Triangular interceptions with serpentine fractal pattern. Every 5th marking has a gold inlay, not ornamental. It's conductive. Possibly circuitry. 2219. Professor Rios. No tool marks consistent with modern excavation. The walls were melted smooth, vitrified, as if shaped by intense directed heat. 2227. Lieutenant Vega. Movement ahead. Low frequency vibration under the noise floor. 2228. Audio distortions. 4.8 seconds. 2229. Dr. Hisu. Lights. Organic. Phosphorescent. They're responding to our headlamps. 2230. Unintelligible whispering, similar to reptilian vocalization. Translation pending. Recovered from the chamber Delta 6 central platform. Obsidian tablet, etched in unknown script. Partial translation matches Sumerian for return, lineage, and guardian below. Gold alloy sphere, 9 cm diameter, emits harmonic resonance when in proximity to limestone walls. Fossilized hand structure, 3 elongated digits with scaling. Mitochondrial residue, incompatible with known terrestrial genomes. Photonic relic shard, appears to contain embedded hieroglyphic data. Decryption is ongoing. Biological contact report. Team LACE 2 observed humanoid silhouettes approximately 2.1-2.4 meters in height. Thermal readings inconsistent with human physiology. Surface temperature 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Movements were fluid, non-hostile. One entity emitted low-frequency tones corresponding to resonant frequencies recorded in artifact number 2. Lieutenant Vega's notes. They weren't hiding, they were walking, waiting, their eyes like polished bronze, unblinking. Dr. Morin asked if they were guardians. The tallest one tapped its chest and drew a circle, the same sigil from the tablet. Then they all stepped backward and vanished into the wall. Team extracted with 4 confirmed artifacts and partial video telemetry. Chamber Delta 6 collapsed behind them approximately 90 seconds post-withdrawal, sealing the entry route. Ground-penetrating radar now shows no internal void where the chamber existed. Analysis and recommendations. Generic sample from artifact number 3. Display non-human nucleotides arranged in triple helix pattern, partially matching ancient reptilian clades. Acoustic mapping of recorded tones demonstrates resonance consistent with active communication rather than environmental noise. Recommendation: suspend open excavation. Initiate project continuum. Contact attempt under controlled environmental conditions. Personal log, Dr. Moran. They left something behind intentionally. The sphere isn't treasure, it's a key. Every frequency we play back from it triggers new geometric alignment in the holographic shard. The legend said they took refuge after the fire. Those who walked upright but shed their skin. I don't think they were a myth. I think they remember us. The real question is, do they still live beneath our feet, waiting for us to open the door again? Chamber Delta 6 will remain sealed. All evidence has been transferred to Facility Orion 3, location redacted, under joint custody of UCLA and the Department of Energy, Subterranean Research Unit. Official public statement. The second Los Angeles subsurface expedition concluded with inconclusive results. No further exploration is planned at this time. Internal addendum. Return window estimated 2029. 3 years, correlating with seismic resonance cycles. Prepare re-entry team under contact protocol conditions. A research member came forward about his experience. He said, "We were led deeper. We were led into a vault sealed with the same gold alloy as the sphere. Inside were crystalline slabs etched with three-dimensional memory fields, like living photographs. These images showed humans and preservers side by side, working together, then drifting apart. The tone grew mournful as even the chamber carried the memory of loss. The last image showed a city burning under falling stars. They sealed the vault and turned to us. They drew the sigil of return again and pointed upward. The seismic harmonics began to destabilize, and the chamber groaned like a living organism. The preservers placed their hands upon the wall, and the vibration ceased. One of them, the same one who first spoke, handed the sphere back to us. Then they stepped backward into the wall again, dissolving into the pattern like sand into water. The last to vanish turned and said, not in tone, but in perfect English, "Do not dig again. When the stars fall silent, we will return." The chamber sealed itself behind us. This story is inspired by real historical events, urban legends, folklore, and conspiracy theories surrounding the alleged lizard people, catacombs, beneath Los Angeles. While references are made to actual individuals, locations, newspaper articles, and historical claims, including the 1930s excavation efforts connected to G. Warren Shufelt and the well-known Los Angeles lizard people legend, the narrative, characters, dialogue, discoveries, organizations, artifacts, and events depicted in the story are entirely fictionalized for entertainment purposes. Any resemblance to real classified programs, government operations, scientific institutions, or actual persons beyond documented historical reference is coincidental or used fictitiously within a creative context. This material is intended solely as entertainment and should not be interpreted as factual reporting, historical proof, or evidence of real-world conspiracies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.